not attempt to adjust your dial. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla at us. Yeah, shout out to us doing our thing here in the studio. We just keep on grinding. Y'all know how it is. We talk some Penn State football while Penn State James Franklin, he got up and walked out. They asked him about a sexual assault case involving former players and a 17-year-old. He refused to answer those questions. He got up and left. And now the media, more importantly, Nick Bromberg and Yahoo, felt like that was the wrong thing to do. He should have stayed and commented on something that was irrelevant to Penn State football as they battled the Buckeyes this Saturday in Happy Valley. So we talked about that. And then we talked about Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders, how he's actually got the Buffaloes in bowl contention right now. And if he's able to run the table at 10-2, they could very well find themselves in the college playoff. And would that be the biggest turnaround from year one to year two? Yeah. And it could happen. It very well could happen if the Buffaloes get past Texas Tech this Saturday. So from there, we go to the SEC. Want to talk some Texas football. Texas, they survived a scare against Vandy. That game right there was a thriller. And it's something about Vandy playing at home. Vandy turns it up. Vandy turns it up at home. And they're not your grandfather's Vanderbilt Commodores, because Vandy is a school that doesn't invest in football or basketball at all. I mean, Stackhouse was there about a year or two ago. He was trying to get that place back on its feet. And they were just okay, but they didn't really make any waves in the SEC. FCC's a football conference, not a basketball conference. But I digress. They outrushed Texas on the ground. Vandy outrushed Texas. That right there in itself, that should show people that this was not a game to be fooled around with when it came to the Commodores. The Commodores rushed for 114 on that Texas defense. Now, Texas, they may be reeling from that Georgia beatdown, but it's still a lot of season left, especially in the SEC, because a lot of these teams are still ranked. Well, some of these teams that are ranked are in most of these guys' wheelhouse that they'll have to go and play these guys. Now, Texas, they still have to play Texas A&M. Yeah, they still have to play Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is number one in the division. At some point, Texas A&M is the only undefeated school in the SEC conference-wise. Conference-wise, they haven't lost a game, and Mike Elko just discovered Marcel Reed. So who knows what that's going to look like? Again, it's a great time to be in the SEC, but if you look at it in the thick of things, this game was tightly contested. If you want to go ahead and look at Vandy, they were put behind the 8 ball in converting that third down conversion 12 times. They only converted 3 of them. That was bad. That was awful. 4th down, they went for it twice. They was only successful once, so that's a 50-50 deal. The thing that I mean, it'll catch your eyes and stuff and how they were able to stay in this game. Texas had 10 penalties for 107 yards. 10 penalties for 107 yards. That is unconscionable and unforgivable at all levels. How do you have that many penalties for that amount of yardage and you still win by 3? Squeaking by. And it's not just Texas. This isn't just Texas having these. This is an outlier. The bigger teams in the SEC have all of these penalties. Alabama has a lot of penalties. And that's uncharacteristic of any Alabama team. So does Georgia. They get a lot of penalties, and that may not fare well when you're in a college playoff playing against a team that's just playing sound football and not making many mistakes and playing in between the hashes, and they might beat you by a field goal. That's what it looks like it's settling up. Now, the 2 interceptions, Yeah, the two interceptions that Texas gave up, to me, I felt like, come on, Ewers. And he's trying to work his way back after coming back from injury. I thought the Georgia game was too early. I know that they were trying to rush him out there because they needed him, but Ewers didn't really need to play in that game against Georgia. Arch Manning is a more than serviceable backup, and he could have went ahead and got all the experience that he wanted. But they rushed Ewers back out there, which I felt like he was gun shy in some instances where he could have got the ball out of his hands and got it downfield. Look, give me a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Burger King. BK, have it your way because you rule. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at your local Burger King. If you have the app, they've got the limited time only, the cheesy tots, the things and rings, and your way meal. You can go ahead and combine anything from your Whopper Jr. to your 4-piece nugget, value fries, and cola. You can customize that order. You can do that all through the app. BK, have it your way, because you rule. Yeah, shout out to Burger King. Get it for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So when we last left off, we were talking about Texas and the way that they played and Quinn Ewers in general. I think that he's trying to bounce back and he's kind of shake himself back into his pre-form before the injury. Right now, like I said, him showing his skill set at 37 attempts, 27 completions, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I think that's a little high for him. And this is just me being generous because he pulled down the ball, called his number 5 times, and then he ran for negative 20 yards. So Vandy's defense was swarming. They were all over the place. They were after him left and right. And then they were actually crowding the throwing lanes. And that's how you pick up those interceptions, when you make the football field look like a parking lot. And guys have to read a window and then have to judge if this guy is able to make a break on the ball. That's touch. That's floating it to the defense or putting that on a rope and getting it there when you need it. However, I just look at what Texas was able to do. They didn't have a rusher that had over 80 yards, 17 touches. That went to Quintavion Weisner. He only had 79 yards. 17 touches for 79 yards. And then you had DeAndre Moore Jr. He got the lion's share of the passes with 6 grabs, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's it. So, yeah, looking at that, you just have to go ahead and shrug your shoulders and say they actually held off Vandy because Vandy was surging. And they were trying to get this thing going because Diego Pavia, he ate them up in that first half at the 9-minute and 40-second mark. That guy went ahead for an 18-yard run. Yeah, 18-yard run. And then Brock Taylor, he boots it right in there. The Matthew Golden, he gets a 3-yard pass from Quinn Ewers. This thing is 7-7. DeAndre Moore Jr., we just mentioned him, 27-yard pass from Quinn Ewers. Now this thing is 14-7 going into the second quarter. DeAndre Moore again, 25-yard pass from Quinn Ewers, 21-7. Then Diego Pavia leads Vandy right back downfield, unable to convert. So they had to settle for field goal by Brock Taylor. And he hit that at the end of regulation. They go into the half 21-10. You thought that things would kind of ease up, and then now people are trying to work their way in. It's a counterpunch. Steve Sarkisian is one of the great coaches that makes adjustments as this game goes on. Coming out, Texas had the ball, and they move it all the way down to the 40-yard line. They can't get anything to go. And so you had Bert Auburn. He comes out. He's got to go ahead and settle for the field goal at 24-10. Then Junior Sherrill has a 3-yard pass from Diego Pavia that sends I'm talking the Vandy faithful is feeling it again. They are on the cusp of having another upset because this makes the game 24-17 headed into that fourth quarter. Again, this is where Texas offense has actually sputtered because all Texas posted was a field goal in this game. And then with 46 seconds left, the game was actually 27-17. They kept playing. Vandy keeps playing. And you got to play through the whistle. Vandy gets that touchdown. Eli Stowers, he gets an 8-yard pass from Diego Pavia that makes this game 24-17. 24-27. You can clearly see where Texas held on to win that game. You can see where Texas held on to win that game. I don't know how successful Texas is going to be if the offense is now dying in these last couple of games that they can get away with, because they don't play a winning team in the SEC until they get with Texas. Now, don't get me wrong, Florida has a good record right now. Arkansas does not have a winning record in the SEC right now. Kentucky is a disaster and a dumpster fire of a team. A&M, and that's a game on the road. Mike Elko might have another thing up his sleeve. They are undefeated in the SEC right now, and they would be the odds-on favorite lock to play either Georgia, to play Texas, or to play LSU. Who knows? We just got to wait and see like I said, how this thing develops. But if you're in the great state of Texas and you're a Longhorn fan, are you worried that the offense is now starting to sputter and pan out? This is Big Vern.